Hi, come on in.
And join in. It's the Very Merry Life. Hi, I'm Mary Hendricks, and you might know me as that relatable AF Mama over on Instagram who hopefully feels like an old friend at this point. And if not, it won't be long till it feels that way as we get raw, unfiltered, and very unapologetic in all things motherhood, marriage, sex, and more. From moments worth savoring to moments worth surviving, get ready to leave feeling seen and supported. You have a friend here now, so hey, take a seat. What's going on?
All right. Oh, okay. Good. Is it going? Okay. It just gave me something. All right. Hi, Holly.
Hi.
Hi. Yay. I'm so excited. I love doing these podcasts, especially because I get to finally meet like the person behind my messages.
Oh my gosh. I am thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm totally fangirling right now.
Oh God. Well, don't. Isn't that so funny? Cause I do that with other, like mom accounts whenever like they'll chit chat back with me and I'm like, I'm so fangirling right now. But then I'm like, they're just a person.
Oh, I know, right?
Like, they're just a person. You just forget because you see them so often on social media that it's just easy.
Yep. Another mom in the trenches. That's all it is.
Literally. Literally. Awesome. Okay. So before we get into it, I'll have you introduce yourself and then we'll kick off. You're drinking wine. I'm drinking tea.
Okay.
I know. That would shock a few people. I've been on, like, I tried drinking last night, a glass of wine, a glass of wine and a half. And it had been a long time since I had a little bit with dinner on Sunday, but other than that, I haven't been drinking for like 2 weeks almost because I just have been finding it's making my anxiety like crap lately because it does that to you. And I always have known that, but lately I don't know if it's an age thing. And I had a glass and a half last night. Yeah. I not only had heart palpitations, but I woke up with a headache and I had a headache all day. And I was like, this is crap. This is crap.
And
glass
that's
and a half of wine.
More anxiety as it is because you're like, I have so many responsibilities. I cannot be feeling this way.
Yeah. No, it's awful. So I told Kev, I was like, I'm done. And he was like, forever. And I was like, no.
Let's be real now.
Let's be real. I was like, I'm going to reserve it for when I know either you're home.
Yeah.
And special occasions. Because at this point, it's not even worth the feeling. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's like whenever Whitney is at work on the nights that she's at work, I don't drink wine or anything. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to let the dogs out and I'm going to go to bed because I don't have anybody to talk to.
I know. That's the fun part. That's the fun part is the drinking the wine and actually having conversation.
I know, right?
No. But okay, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
No worries. Yes, I am Holly. I am a mother of two. I have she will be 6 this year, and I have a son that will be 2 this year. I am happily married to my wife, Whitney. We have been together. I was trying to do the math because I was like, I really need to think about this. We've been together since 2011. Okay. But we've been married since 2014.
Okay.
So, I work from home. I work for an insurance company. And the transition from working from home happened during COVID. So, but yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons, but, other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it as far as introducing myself.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and I asked Holly to come on. So again, this whole podcast is about like real life moms talking real life things. And I reached out to Holly because Holly's been following me and I love the conversations on Instagram. Like I just love my inbox and I love the messages and I always have. And there's like a select few faces that always come up. Like when I see the messages come through and I'm like, okay, yes. Like I always get excited because you really do. Like I have conversations. Like I know you can vouch for that. Like I have conversations.
Yes.
So I get excited, but yeah. And I know when you really stuck out was because I didn't know that you were in a same-sex marriage. And I remember you responded to something saying like my wife, I forget what it was about, but it was either on like a Monday when I used to do Monday chats or something. Yeah. And you gave a perspective of that. And I always like, you forget about it when you're like in a straight relationship, like you forget that outside exists and like all those different things exist. And there's so many different dynamics of couples and families these days.
Of course. Yes.
So that's why when I was thinking about this, I was like, it's an amazing perspective. Like I need to know more because I mean, you also sound South, so I'm curious as to how all that is, but
born and raised North Carolina.
I love it. But it's a perspective that I want to hear on because again, you guys have probably multiple perspectives. You can touch on being a working from home mom and, same sex couple type of mom and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, motherhood is motherhood. Mm-hmm. And marriage to me personally, I have a very different perspective than a lot of people that are in a same sex relationship or marriage. I am very cool, calm, and collected. I try and blend in as much as I can. I just want to be just, normal. I am normal. And so basically, I'm trying to think I've been gay for as long as I can remember. I've never really pictured myself walking down an aisle to a man.
Yeah.
And I came out to my parents whenever I was in high school.
Okay.
And I will say that my mom supported me the most. My mom and my stepdad supported me the most. My parents are divorced.
Okay.
And so I have been in relationships in and out, literally up until 2011 when me and Whitney started hanging out again. And funny story, me and Whitney, we've known each other since we were in like middle school.
Yeah.
We just hung out with the same friends. But she had just started her job, as a paramedic. And I had just, I think I had just graduated college. And we just started hanging out and one thing led to another. And yeah, we both kind of wanted the same things. We both wanted a family. She had no desire to want to carry the child.
Okay.
I was totally for it.
Yeah. Hey.
And I was like, well, I mean, hey. So kind of similarities in that sense. And we lived together for quite some time before we decided to have our first, which we did through intrauterine insemination.
Okay. I was going to ask. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And then with that, so obviously you'd have to get a sperm donor.
Right.
How's that? Is it someone you know, or is it like a random process?
Right. So it is not someone that we know. We did not feel comfortable with that. There again, there's so many different couples that are out there that prefer specific things.
Yeah.
Some couples out there prefer to actually know them because they can physically see them. They know their health. They know their history.
Is there a legal process with that? I imagine there would be.
I can imagine. I don't know the legality behind it.
Yeah.
I just know that when we picked out a sperm donor, it couldn't be in the same state that you live in.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Huh. So I don't really know how it would work. Like if you knew this random guy and he did the deed and you brought it into a clinic, or if you did it at home.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah. I had a guest on here way back before. Her name's Danny Marin. She's on TikTok. She's big on TikTok. She's a single mom, but she is single by choice, where she wanted a baby. And so she she blew up on TikTok because she put on how to make a baby at home. And I think it may have been during COVID. And she shared how she had her sperm donor, like her sperm sample sent to her doorstep. Yeah. And she did it all herself. And she it worked.
Wild. It is wild. See, I'm like type A when it comes to stuff like that. Like I need to know my levels. I need to know my lab work. What am I looking at? And honestly, I just want to make sure that it's all getting to the right.
Yeah. You want to make sure it's getting there.
I'm not wasting my time for that.
No, or money, because it's not cheap either.
It is not cheap. It is not cheap. And
how is it IUI compared to IVF? I would imagine it's pretty similar, right?
No. So the IUI is basically like they insert a speculum like they do with a pap smear.
Yeah.
And they have this long little catheter with a syringe. And basically they just draw up the vial of sperm.
Right on in. Yeah.
And then connect it to the catheter. And then they pretty much like you're having a PAP and they take the catheter and feed it up into your cervix and then push. And then you have to lay there because they tilt your hips on the exam table and you're just laying there for like 15 minutes.
It's like the hottest thing there is, right?
Hey, they dimmed the lights.
Put on some happy music.
They tried. You can only make it so calm.
I would imagine that would actually be helpful because you want it to be calm, I would imagine.
Yeah. But, and the IVF, I've had a couple of friends that unfortunately, due to medical reasons, they had to go down the IVF route.
Yeah. But I've had a few mamas on here that have done IVF and they're just like.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
That's a whole process in itself.
Yeah.
I would say IUI, if you're able to swing it health-wise, that's the way to go.
I feel like that's usually where they start off with a lot of moms is IUI. Exactly. They let's see how many. Did you have to do multiple rounds of IUI or was it like the first go?
Well, with Addison, again, I learned so much. So they need, whenever you get your vials from your donor site, typically, let's see, how many did we get? With Addison, I think we got 3 vials or we just got 2 vials because we didn't know what we were doing. So we were like, let's just get 2.
Yeah.
And so the first vial, I remember I had to test my ovulation and everything. And the first vial that they did, first of all, whenever you buy from the donor company, you have the option to buy washed or unwashed.
Oh.
And I flat out asked her, I was like, listen, this is my first go round.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And she was like, oh, well, depending on your fertility site, they will wash it themselves or we can ship it to you washed. And basically that means that they just weed out all the weak ones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. Science is so cool. I love how people have figured this shit out.
No, who you telling? But luckily my fertility clinic offered the on-site washing because they wanted to be in charge of what was there. They didn't want to just depend on a company to say that, oh, it's this many, Gotcha. They wanted to take ownership of that. And so, the first 2 that I had shipped, I got there and they washed it and it was less than 5,000. They needed 11,000.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were really disappointed and they were like, honestly, we really don't want to try. You need to get your money back for this vial.
Yeah.
We were like, okay. And they were like, do you want us to go ahead and thaw out your other vial since you've taken the day off work and you've already tested your ovulation, you're ready to go? And me and Whitney looked at each other and we were like, well, might as well. We're here.
Yeah.
So they thawed out the second one and it again was at a lower value. It was at between 9 and 10.
Okay.
But they were like, let's try it. You're healthy. You're young.
Can they combine them together? Or can they throw the right?
You would think.
Just fuse them.
Who am I? See, here we go. We need to write a letter.
This is why we don't have a fertility clinic.
It's true. Let's just all put it together in
let's
one
just
little petri dish.
Mesh it together. Let's go.
Let's just put it together in one petri dish.
Spread them. Let's go. We'll just get it right.
So, we decided to go ahead with that one and, it was a no-go.
Okay.
But I really don't know if it was the fact that, during the waiting period, I had found out that my mom was really sick.
Oh.
And so it just caused a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I know that that can play a toll in things. And plus, that month I didn't even ovulate due to the stress. So it was like, so I decided to take a couple months off. And then me and Whitney sat down and we talked. And we were like, obviously, this one donor just ain't cutting it.
Yeah.
So let's basically start all over. And so we found this other donor that we were interested in. And this time we got 3 vials.
Okay. And now when you looked at a donor, did you try and find traits that were similar to your wife?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we opted to not see any pictures.
Okay.
We didn't want to see any pictures. There's some of the sites didn't give you an option and would show their baby picture. And I guess give you a kind of a image of maybe what your baby also would look like. But we just wanted to create our own image in our head based off the characteristics that were given.
Yeah.
So with the other donor that we got 3 vials. We were like, let's just go ahead and get 3 because you got to pay shipping. So you might as well get all you need because you got to pay shipping regardless of how many you get.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and got 3 and got our money back for the other 2. The donor site was phenomenal. They were like, my bad, here's your money back.
Oh, awesome.
So we used that money to go towards our next shipment and tried again and got pregnant on the first trial with this donor with Addison.
Great. Okay.
And then they allowed us to store our other 2 vials at their location until we decided that we wanted to have another baby.
Yeah. Okay. That way they would be obviously related. Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. And did that end up working obviously then for your son?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And so awesome. then we had 1 vial left and me and Whitney looked at each other and we were like, no,
we're good.
So I'm not even, I don't even want, bless you for 3. That's all. I can't.
You know what? A lot of people say that to me because 1 to 2.
Yeah. And that's what I've heard too. 1 to 2 will rock your world. And then the 3rd is just like, here, I'm here. Hey.
Yeah. That's literally what it is. Obviously I think it depends on the baby. If Haley were a different baby and like more high needs or anything, then that would be a different scenario. Right. I feel it now. Like she's going to be 1 and 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Oh my God. 3 weeks. So I'm like out of that fog period. Like I'm starting to feel like myself at this point, which is so freaking nice. But it definitely, I think the hard part with the 3rd this time, obviously it was just like the postpartum sucks ass, but was the missing out on what the older kids were doing. That's hard.
Yeah.
Because especially during the summer, they wanted to go to like the pool and they wanted to be outside and they wanted me to push them on the swing. But I had Haley and I was like, she's only 3 months old, guys. Like I can't bring her in 95-degree heat. Like,
yes,
that sucked a little bit. So
yeah, I can definitely understand that. I mean, that's kind of, I had the same guilt because, Bryson was born in April. So, I mean, he was fairly young in the summer. Yeah. And Addison, she's older and she's like, well, I want to go do this. And, with Whitney's schedule and because of her working in public service, it's like, you're kind of on your own majority of the time.
What'd she do? What'd she do for work?
She's a paramedic.
Oh, okay. That's right. You said that. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
So,
yeah, she's on shifts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kev, my husband's a police officer, so I'm familiar with all of that. First responder life. Yeah.
It's not for the weak.
No.
But she recently got a new job in a different county, and now she's working 24-hour shifts.
Oh, okay. No, all of it sucks. It's just like, it's just your own little world. And that's probably why, like that 1 to 2, when you're like, when you don't have a lot to like, or someone else to come home and like load off onto, it's just a lot. Like even Kev goes away on Friday, and obviously this podcast won't come out until after he's home, thank God. So I can actually say it, but he's away. He's leaving on Friday and he'll be gone all week until Friday to Friday. I can't say anything on my stories either. So I'm going to have to just pretend like he's home, but it just, it sucks. It sucks. I'm like, I know he's leaving in 2 days. I'm like, like this is like good.
It's difficult because I mean, Addison the dynamic with the 1 and 2 was a shake all in itself.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are polar opposites made it even harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would think, oh, I mean, y'all, you know, you're the same. You're related to one another. Like,
No.
why do you not have anything in common? Like, other than your looks? Like, that's all you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, Addison, she was such a good sleeper, and she was such a good eater. She loves to try new things, and this and that and the third. And she was sleeping through the night, like 12 hours at, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah.
And solid sleep to where I would have to put my hand on her chest to make sure she's breathing.
Yeah.
Whereas Braxton, he'll let you know, like, every 2 hours. Like, he'll
Yeah.
grunt, whine, roll over.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude. And he'll be 2 in April.
Yeah. It's hard. That's a hard, I mean, I just recently did you see my stories yesterday talking about that? I was talking about, like, the not always liking your kid, like the taboos that I covered. And I said the not always liking, or having I asked stories. I was like, do you have a favorite child? And some people got really upset about it, saying, like, you know, this is like, if you have a favorite child, then something's wrong with you. And I was like, well, favorite versus favoritism are 2 completely different things. And I'm like, if you're favoring one child and you're treating them different, and if you're holding back on treating your child different, that's a problem. That is, like, they already know that that's a problem. And I said, but having a baby that, like, you don't mesh with, or a child that you don't mesh with, is a completely normal thing, because it's a human, like, with their own personality, and it's going to shift from time to time. And that's how it was with, like, my son. He was the same exact way. Like, and he still is. He's just the pandemic, I think, rocked my world with him a little bit. But he's just, like, his temperament is so different than my girls. Like, Haley's still blob, but I'm noticing her temperament is happy. And whatever Spencer was not. Spencer was angry and miserable, and, like, wanted me at all times. He didn't want anyone else to be by him. I think I put up a video once of me wearing a bag over my head on vacation, because he wouldn't leave me alone, and my friends put it over my head, and it's just me standing with a big paper bag over my head so that he wouldn't notice it was me.
I mean, it's awful. I mean, it takes everything in me to keep my pants up when I'm making dinner. I mean, it's like, he's just like, Mom, like, pulls. I'm like, dude.
It's so hard too, because you love these kids to death, but it's like a high needs kid like that, it just eats at you, and you're like, oh my God, kid, like,
oh yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I mean, you can love your kids to death, but you can still admit that it's hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love when people get all up in their panties in a bunch whenever they hear that, and I'm like, I don't understand how, like, it's not an automatic, like, we love them. That's the thing that makes us truck through this madness. Otherwise we would just, like, bye, not care. But we do. So we love them. We're obviously taking care of them. It's just a really challenging, especially these years. And that could change. Obviously, you have a daughter and a son. I mean, we're in for it as they get older. So that's totally going to change, where he probably will become the favorite. And because he's a boy, and he'll probably be a little bit easier to manage in high school versus.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because Miss Priss came down. She's really independent.
Yeah.
Okay. Very independent. I'm very lucky. I'm very spoiled with her.
Yeah.
I don't know how we lucked out, but we use the Hatch nightlight that has the different colors.
Yep.
So she goes to bed when it's a certain color, and she gets up when it's a certain color.
Okay.
And when she gets up, she puts on her clothes, she brushes her teeth, she brushes her hair, she puts on her socks and shoes, and she comes downstairs and eats breakfast, and she's ready to go to school.
I love that.
But you never know. She's like a box of chocolates when it comes to her clothes. I can lay out multiple outfits, and she still chooses what she wants.
Yeah.
So it's like, you never know what you're going to get when she comes down the stairs. And the other day, I caught her coming down the stairs. Now, mind you, she'll be 6 in June. She had on eyeshadow. She's in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Eyeshadow, sweatpants, and a sweatshirt. But she had gone into my bedroom and got a hair bow to pull it up like a crop top.
Oh,
and
no.
tie it in the back. I said, no, ma'am. She said, Mom, it's stylish. I was like, I don't know. I don't even wear crop tops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's styling?
I don't know. Where did you see this? But needless to say, she took the hair bow out. I told her, I was like, you can wear the sweatsuit, but you got to take the hair bow out.
That's so funny. That's how Cassidy is. Cassidy came down the stairs. She comes down the stairs all the time, but she likes to get into my makeup. And thankfully, she's like past the age of like destroying my makeup. But she'll always come down and she'll just like look around like this. And I was like, fine, wear it. I don't care. But her new thing is like to wear a crown when she goes to school. And I'm like, Cassie, everyone's going to think it's your birthday. And she's like, I don't care. I like it. And I'm like, I told her teacher, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. As long as she is appropriately dressed for the weather and the climate, bye. So it's not worth the argument with me anymore.
I agree 1000%. And at least you dress appropriate to the climate. I mean, some days I'm like, well, you're going to be cold. And she was like, no, I'm not. I'm like, okay.
Natural consequences. That's what I call it. You'll find out. But it's
so funny because Whitney's mom swears up and down that Addison is just like her.
Oh, yeah.
And if you see both of them together, even like Whitney's friends, Whitney's family, and even my family have said like how much they are alike when they're side by side and the way that they smile and their mannerisms.
I love that.
Yeah. They're two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
There's times where I look at Whitney and I'm like, why don't she talk to me? Like she talks to Whitney more than she talks to me.
Yeah.
But I guess because I'm the one that's with her 24/7.
Probably. I was going to say that. It's usually that like, you know what? That's the crap. I said that to my husband once. I was like, you know what sucks? Like even yesterday, Cassidy got all mad at me, or 2 days ago, she got all mad at me for something. Oh, I threw out a piece of paper that she had scribble on, and I threw it out, and she got so mad. And she was upstairs, and she, for the second time now, the first time was a big blow, but this time was just heat. And I think she knows that it hurts me, and she enjoys doing it now. She says, I hate you. And yeah. And she said it, and I was like, oh God. But I said to Kev, I was like, you know what drives me nuts with that is like, I'm the one that gets it. Even though Kevin has done similar things, I'm the one that gets it. Or when they grow up, if they have a bad memory, chances are it's going to be from me because I spend the most of the time with them. And it's just bonkers. And I'm like, it drives me nuts because I'm like, I'm the one that like, we love her equally, but I'm like, with her all the time. Like, I pour my life into her.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, that's like the other day we were all outside and I was telling her she couldn't do something. And she looked at me and she was like, why do you have to be so annoying? I'm like, where do you get this stuff from? Like you're like watching Princess Power. Like they don't say this.
Yeah, I know, right? That's her and Cassidy then would get along because that's Cassidy to me. Where she's like, shh, mom, shh, you're hurting my ears. And I'm like, what?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So in going with your daughter and stuff like in your kids in general, just with your relationship, do your kids notice at all a difference between anything? Have questions come from them?
Yes. So Braxton, of course, he's too young to understand, but Addison knows that she has two mommies. She knows that she does not have a daddy. Okay. And she has asked before, like, why don't I have a daddy? And all that we say is because you are loved by two mommies and we are your mommies and we made you and you're here because of us and we love you so much. Yeah. And not everyone needs a daddy. There's some people out here that don't have a daddy, and that's okay. Now,
because you're in the South too, because I always wonder that. Has it been hard? Have you gotten any crap like at all because of it?
Honestly, I can't really think. I know some people have personally, but no, I can't even think of like, we were treated so well at the OBGYN. We were treated so well at the fertility clinic. Okay. We were treated so well at the hospital. You know, they didn't blink an eye when Whitney put her name on the birth certificate. They didn't blink an eye, you know, when our OBGYN met Whitney. We FaceTime over all the visits because she was at work. Yeah. And of course, during COVID, she couldn't come.
Yeah.
But at the hospital, no ifs, ands, or buts. She was the mom. But yeah. I
love that.
I mean, I can't really say anything, you know, that I know of, you know, because people are.
Yeah, you never know.
People will talk so much stuff like as you turn your back, but then they won't say it to your face.
Of course.
But no, I don't feel judged or looked at or, you know, in any way. I will say one thing that has bothered me, and I know this is so petty, but whenever me and Whitney got married, there was a girl that was in our wedding party.
Yeah.
And I was really close friends with her. And she started dating this guy. And he knew about me and Whitney and knew that our friend was in our wedding. And it was like probably like less than 6 months after we got married.
Yeah.
And she pretty much ghosted me and Whitney. We never talked to her. Like, she would not talk to us again. Like, he didn't believe in this kind of lifestyle, and he didn't want her around this kind of lifestyle. And she just followed along with it. She pretty much left a friendship of so many years to a guy. But
that's so sad.
I mean, to each their own. I mean, you know,
I don't even understand how anyone could ever like, who cares? Like, I've always said that. I just had the conversation the other day. Like, one, it's not as like in my area, we're a little bit more rural. So I haven't met another same-sex couple, but I have same-sex, not parents, same-sex parents. I haven't met same-sex parents. I've met plenty of same-sex couples because that's what it is. But I never understood that. I met someone once, and it was actually here on Instagram in my early days. And I remember meeting with her, and we got friendly, and she was from Texas, and we ended up Zooming, and she went on this whole tirade about how terrible it was. And I was like, oh my God. But yet she was a big account about like love and respect. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this? Yeah. I was like, why do you even care?
Some people, I mean, depends on also like how you were raised.
Oh, totally.
You know, that's a big thing. And a lot of people feel like, well, I was raised this way, I have to be this way.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, not really. You know, it is 2023. So, I mean, times are changing. And, you know, I look at our generation, because I'll be 34 this year. So it's like, I look at our generation and I'm like, this is what Addison's going to see growing up. You know, so she's not going to have all the judgment. I pray that she doesn't. Yeah. I mean, she's probably not going to have all the judgment because, I mean, who are we to judge? You know what I mean? It's like when she gets in her 20s, you know, we are going to be those people that are looking at us right now, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
No, well, I've tried making an effort because I just want like even, I had someone here that follows me. She wrote a book about like a kitten getting adopted, and it was two mommies that adopted her. And I remember my daughter, and kids notice, like, I know my daughter was like, why are there two mommies? And I was like, because there's sometimes two mommies and there's two daddies, and there's a mommy and a daddy, or sometimes there's just a mommy, or sometimes there's just a daddy. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. And I was like, easy peasy. But I'm like, kids are going to notice. So you might as well just like it's not a big deal. Like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like your kids are going to make a big deal out of it if they see you making a big deal
absolutely.
Out of it. It's like this is normal. And this is going to be as normal as you make it out to be, you know? And it's like, I'm not doing any harm to you. And I'm not, you know, I'm not like, me and Whitney are very respectful. And it's like, we don't do PDA. Like, we are very respectful. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to.
In the same way that my husband and I don't do PDA. Like, that's the thing too, is like, I understand that even people like I personally don't want to see anyone doing PDA.
Honestly, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, whenever I see you like sticking your tongue down your girlfriend's throat, I'm like,
anyone. Like, I don't want to see any of that. Like, it's a private, do that at home. Like, that's why, like, I could give a shit about any of this stuff because it's like, no one's caring as to what my husband and I are doing in my bedroom. So why the hell do I care about what anyone else is doing in their bedroom? I don't ask. That's not a question I ask. Like, if I meet you, I'm like, I don't care what you're doing. Like, for all I know, you're probably, based off of the sex confessions I get on my stories, you're probably doing some crazy ass shit.
Crazy ass Buzz Lightyear stuff.
Oh my God. Isn't that nuts? God, that was true. Someone told me that. They said,
those are my favorite times.
Buzz Lightyear. Then next week we'll be doing them. But Buzz Lightyear is apparently a very popular, literally a toy that people have pulled out of butts.
Yeah. But
you'll have to ask Whitney if she's ever gotten any of those calls.
Oh, she would have told me, and no,
not yet.
I know it. Not yet,
Yeah.
but she has delivered a baby before.
Oh, that's fun.
So, yeah.
I like that.
But the only thing that I really worry about sometimes is like Addison, because she's getting older, so she's going to be invited to things. Yeah. And it's like, you know, I'm hopeful that the fact that anybody that's Addison's age has parents more than likely around our age. Yeah. So it's like, hopefully they're as open-minded and as welcoming and, you know, will allow Addison to partake in whatever.
God,
like,
I hope so. I can't even imagine.
You know?
Because it would be the parents that would do it. It wouldn't even be the kids. Because kids nowadays could care less, but it would be the parents.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's like, you know, Addison just finished up her basketball season. And honestly, you want to talk about something that opened my eyes. So this was, you know, I know it's crazy to say that it opened my eyes because it's like I have seen so much since coming out in so many different areas of life. And so Addison just finished her first season of basketball. And there were, let's see, I think there was two kids on her team that had same-sex parents.
Oh.
So there was like, so including us, there was like a total of 3. Yeah. I was like, wow, what are the odds?
Were they all female same-sex or were they, okay.
Yeah, they were all female, yeah. So I was floored. I was like, oh, I mean, you know, here we are in this small little county. I was like, all right, I can, you know.
I love it.
We're branching out a little bit.
I feel like I've seen more same-sex women parents than I do men. And I know it's just as prominent. I feel like I haven't seen it yet. No.
Me either. I feel like
that's more city, like, if anything. I feel like if I'm going to see that.
Like LA.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, not here.
I have a gay couple, like a man couple that I'm very good friends with. I love them so much. I haven't seen them in a while, but they're so funny. But they don't have kids. So it's just different. Or they're just single. Usually anyone that I meet that are same sex usually are not single without kids. So
I just think it's so funny because a lot of my straight friends, you know, they'll get mad at their significant other or their boyfriends or even their husbands. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to become a lesbian. And I'm like,
do you find that you and Whitney have not gender roles, but kind of like the stereotypical gender roles at home?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So, you know, she primarily handles the bills and the bank account. I don't want anything to do with that, to be honest. I'll go to the mailbox. That's about as far as it'll go. And so, but as far as like in the house, like I want to do the laundry. I'm really a stickler about laundry because I cannot afford for anything of mine to shrink. Yeah. So if she puts something of mine in the dryer, I'm going to be very upset. So I would rather just do my own laundry. So typically I'm in charge of laundry. And, you know, it is easy because, I mean, I do work from home. So it's like on small breaks during the day, I can put a load in, take a load out, you know. But as far as like the trinkets and stuff around the house, like outside stuff, fixing things, you know, the cars and stuff like that. I mean, Whitney handles a lot of that. Like and you know, here lately, she has been helping me go to the grocery store because, I mean, we've had to recently start shopping at Aldi. We've been shopping at Aldi now for a couple
Isn't
months.
It great?
And so,
I love Aldi.
Oh my gosh. And I used to do Food Line to go, so it was really easy. So on my lunch break, I could just go and pick up my groceries. Yeah. But with inflation, it's like
insane.
I can't. So, and then I can't go on the weekends because, let's be honest, unloading groceries with children is like brushing your teeth with biting an Oreo. Yeah. I mean, it's just chaos. So she'll go during the week for me for groceries. But I mean, I would say we do have our things. And then on the nights that she is home, we switch with bath and bed. So the first night that she's home, she'll do bath and I'll do bed. And then on the second night that she's home, I'll do bath and she'll do bed because she won't see the kids until like 2 days from then. So yeah, we have this whole routine.
So, but do you feel like your guy, like, I'm always curious. So do you feel like you guys are equal though? Like, do you feel like you're even, especially when you both are home? Do you feel like, who's the default? Do you get you? Okay.
I 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like I've recently, just to be really transparent, I recently asked Whitney to kind of help me out with taking the kids to school and daycare, because it's like it's pure chaos and it's mind numbing. And, you know, we have 2 kids, 2 dogs. One of our dogs just turned a year old. We just got a new puppy 3 weeks ago. So that's basically like having another baby.
Yeah.
And it's like she's waking up at least once during the night, and then she wakes up really early. And then our son's going through something. I don't know if he's going through a regression of some kind. So I told her, I was like, I really need your help. Like, I need at least once a week, if not once every other week, to be able to just sleep and wake up and go downstairs, drink my coffee and brush my teeth and clock in for work. I mean, I don't, and skip all the chaos. Just once every other week. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I'm there. You know, it's the little
thing.
Yeah.
No, well, and that's big. And that's great that you guys have communication. Cause I think that's like a big thing I know from like man, woman, like husband, wife relationships. That is like, maybe it's a man thing. I don't know. And I hate to even say that, but it's like, I'm always curious because I'm like, well, is it a female thing? Like are females like a little bit more cognizant of this stuff? Kind of sounds like it a little bit, where it's a little bit more open for dialogue and conversation. A lot of the couples that I hear from on Instagram that are like dealing with their husbands. Even today, I had a question on my thing saying like, if you're a stay-at-home mom, should it be expected if your spouse is working from home to bring them lunch and make them lunch? I'm like, fuck no. You're a stay-at-home mom, not a stay-at-home wife. Like, I know if you want to do it.
You ain't a damn Uber driver.
No, he has legs. Tell him to go get his own sandwich. Jesus Christ. But it's like stuff like that where I hear stuff coming in from like wives of husbands. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening that like men are completely, it's like they're what word am I looking for? Oblivious. That's the word. Oblivious to everything. And I'm like, what's happening? Have we conditioned them this way? I'm kind of thinking that might be part of it too, but I'm like, what's going on? But
one thing that I will say that we have done, and we have been doing this since we were dating, like even before Addison was born, we always sit down at night on the nights that she is home. We sit down, we cut off the TV, put our phones off, put our phones down, and we have a drink and we just talk. And it's very rare. Every now and then we'll be like, do you want to watch a movie? We're like, okay, you know, but we are really good at communicating for the most part. I mean, let's be honest. We've been married for forever. We have our ebbs and flows, just like everybody. You know, we go through ruts where we are really not communicating very well. And quite frankly, you know, it's like we're just passing in the wind. It's like, you know, we're basically just surviving together, and that's all we're doing. We're not doing anything.
Well, it's human nature. I think that's the biggest thing. I think some people look at that and they think I think people look at when that happens in the relationship, especially after kids, when that like roommate phase happens, where they think it's only their relationship, it's only them, and it's not. Like it happens to everyone, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's just a man or woman thing. Like obviously, it's just a person to person thing. You can live, you could literally live with roommates. And some days, I remember that in college. Like some weeks were great with your roommates, other weeks you were just like blinders up, like you're in your own world doing your own shit, and then you kind of forget about like that portion of connection.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just, you know, we just make sure that we both take initiative in noticing when we are that way. And I think that's a really big difference between a heterosexual relationship and then a relationship with 2 females. It's like females, we love to talk. We're emotional. Now, mind you, that can be a fault whenever you're in a same-sex marriage with a female.
My sister's friend, she's gay, and she was like recently she figured out, I think, that she was gay. She's always known, but I think she kind of like allowed herself to be gay 2 years ago. And I remember she was telling my sister was telling me, she's like, yeah, she was saying, you know, oh my God, like being in a relationship with her girlfriend, she's like, it is so dramatic. And she was like, I love her, but holy shit. I'm like,
yeah, it can be a lot.
Like,
yeah, it can be a lot. And, honestly, whenever you're in a heterosexual relationship and the guy's like, are you PMSing? Honestly, whenever you're in a same-sex marriage or
you're probably PMSing at the same exact time.
And she looks at you and she was like, are you about to start your period? And we're like questioning on whether or not we are, because we're
you're synced at this point. So you both are like raging. You're like, ah.
Oh, it's awful. And I feel so bad for Braxton. I mean, here he has me, Whitney, Addison, and then it's
he's going to be
a lone soldier, praying that, his testosterone will outdo all of
if he decides, if he gets married one day. No matter what, he'll be an amazing husband. You guys are.
He has 2
moms. Yeah, you're breaking him in.
Sister.
You're breaking him in. Well,
it's just other than the anatomy. I mean, honestly, there's just no difference, and it's just honestly some of the same
stuff.
Same stuff. I mean, same fights. You go through the same fights. You go through. From what I've gathered through our friends that are in a heterosexual relationship, I mean, same fight, same insecurity.
I mean, it sounds all pretty much the same to me. That's the biggest thing. That's why, I don't get it when people are so, angry about, any of this stuff. I'm like, again, who cares? Matters. It doesn't affect anything. Who you decide to love at the end of the day, and and engage in anything behind closed doors. Who cares? That literally is the tiniest little portion of all of it. Even if you ask my husband and I, how often out of our entire relationship is sex involved? It's if you think about it, it's this much versus our entire life. It's a great portion, but our entire life is so much more than that. And same with everyone else. So I'm I don't understand the argument, but
Oh yeah, agreed. I mean, when it comes to being in a same-sex marriage and having children, at the end of the day, I just feel it's the same, but added in emotion and a different anatomy.
Yeah.
more emotion in a sense. I want to say, me and Whitney have been asked the question of, well, do you think that Addison or Braxton will turn out gay? Since that's all that they know. And I was like, no. No. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, Addison's already had 10 boyfriends and she's in kindergarten. So
she's probably not even thinking about it. Again, kids don't even think about that shit. But again, and if she does, it has nothing to do with you. That's the way I view it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me. And, whenever Braxton gets older, I mean, whatever. I can't really speak for him right now. Right now, I just need him to sleep.
Yeah, but, I mean, and that's how I always say that. I always talk that way about my kids. And sometimes, I have friends of mine, and I'll say it, and I'm like, yeah, well, if they ever get, if Spencer wants to get married, and if he gets, if he marries a man or a woman or something, they'll be like, wait, what? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But again, I don't care.
Honestly, you have no idea these days. You really don't.
I mean, I'm going to keep an open channel for whatever. I'm just going to, one day you might love whoever.
I mean, because at the end of the day, they're just like I did. I was not a good child by any means. I rebelled a lot. If you don't accept it, they'll figure out a way to get it regardless. So it's you need to just make sure that you're open to conversation and open-minded and,
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is if any of your kids end up being gay, then you had nothing to do with it, but you're going to have everything to do with their response to it, which is going to be actually great for them if that ends up being the case. Whatever. Hey, sure.
Yeah. Whitney's rule right now is for Addison, whoever she brings home better not have a man bun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could agree on that one. I could agree on that one. Oh, yeah.
Everybody talks about, I wouldn't say everybody, but majority of people kind of have speculations on whether or not the bond that you have with a child if you don't have the child. And, everybody's like, well, you're the mom. Well, I have a very different view on that.
Yeah.
I carried her. Me and Whitney both are her mom. Just because Whitney didn't carry her doesn't make her any less of a parent. That's just in a heterosexual relationship. You know what I mean? It's you're a mom and he's a dad. I'm a mom and she's a mom. Just because I carried the children doesn't mean anything.
No, it's
really.
a participation in it. Like it's it's literally, I mean, it technically didn't take two of you guys to tango, but it did. It did, because you guys have to create the life.
I wouldn't, I mean, I don't, I don't know if I would have done it by myself, to be honest. I mean, holy moly.
No way. No. So, no.
But needless to say, I mean, when it comes to same-sex, marriage with kids, I mean, I don't really make it out to be any different. I just, I just want what's best for our kids and our marriage. And at the end of the day, we're happy.
That's literally all a family. That's what a family should be.
Living our lives.
Easy. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. And, we just pray that eventually, we'll get to the spot where it's not so judged. I just want to say judged. I wouldn't say look down, but judged. Like, I wouldn't say that someone looks, at a same-sex couple and is appalled, but, at the end of the day, they're going to judge you regardless. But I mean, at the end of the day as well, people are going to judge people in a heterosexual
I mean, we
relationship.
get judged left and right. No matter what you do, might as well just have fun. That's right.
Amen.
Awesome. Well, you are the best. I'm so glad that you came on, because this was just this is a great conversation. This is my favorite thing about doing these podcasts, is I just get an excuse to go talk with real life human beings, because I talk to little kids all day.
I totally get it. I'm here until I get the kids from school, and then I pick them up, and that's all I have.
I get it. Awesome. Well, I will link everything for Holly for everyone listening. If anyone's a North Carolina attorney and can help her with the things she talked about, then you can reach out to her. But I will link everything. If you want to follow her on Instagram or any of your other channels, I'll have you send me that stuff. I don't know if you're anywhere else, but if that is it, then I'll let you go. And of course.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, Mary.
I know, it was so much
fun.
Another episode down and way more to go, but thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to help support this podcast, I would love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share it with others and post about it on your own social media, or leave a rating and review. I cannot tell you how helpful and how appreciated those things are for me. Of course, to catch all the latest from me, you can follow me over on Instagram at The Very Merry Life, over on TikTok, The Very Merry Life. And even if you wanted to check out my monthly newsletter, you can do so by subscribing over at theverymerrylife.com. I'll see you next week. Stay tuned for more honest, raw, real chit chat. I have some amazing moms lined up coming on, and shit's going to get fun. So buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be good.